They always say the truth will set you free, but in the Braxton world, the truth just sets everything on fire. And tonight, the match in Tamer's life is not her mother, not her sisters, not even one of her exes. It's her former friend turned enemy. Funky Dineva. Because after weeks of Tamer hinting, crying, and dancing around what really happened the night she almost died, Funky has finally snapped. And what is now claiming about how Mendeecees treated Tamer that night has every corner of the internet shaking. You remember how Tamer sat in that interview chair, eyes glassy, voice trembling, saying she woke up bloody, missing teeth, with no memory. You remember her calling herself a victim, letting the world quietly assume Funky had something to do with it, never once stepping in to shut the rumors down. You remember how she played up the mystery. I don't know what happened. I just came home like normal, while her followers dragged Funky as a monster. Well, Funky warned her. He told her, stop playing with my name before I tell it all. She didn't listen. She kept poking, kept implying, kept letting the world believe he was the villain. And now, he's done protecting her. Done protecting the image. Done keeping that birthday night a secret. Because according to Funky, the real story isn't about him at all. It's about Tamer, Mendeecees, and a night that allegedly went from flirtation to disaster, long before the cameras ever got involved. And after what he just revealed, nobody in this circle will ever be looked at the same again. The moment Funky Dineva finally opened his mouth, the entire internet felt the shift. It wasn't a rumble. It wasn't a whisper. It was an explosion, silent at first, then deafening, because everyone knew he was the one person Tamer could never control, never manipulate, never silence. And if Funky was talking, he wasn't talking to hurt, he was talking to expose. For weeks, Tamer had been hinting at danger. Trauma. A mysterious injury. Her missing teeth. Her blood-stained pillow. Her almost died storyline. She painted herself as the victim in a foggy, tragic night she claimed she couldn't remember. She let her fans blame Funky. She let the blogs accuse him. She let strangers rip him apart, as if he was some jealous, spiteful monster. And all that time, he stayed quiet. But quiet doesn't mean weak. Quiet doesn't mean guilty. Quiet is what people do when they're trying to protect someone who is hell-bent on destroying them anyway. So when Tamer sat on that radio show, blinking dramatically, talking about betrayal and broken trust, hinting, again, that Funky had abandoned her, that was it. The final straw. Because according to Funky, he wasn't the one Tamer was with that night. When he said the name Mendeecees, the internet stopped breathing. Someone in the background gasped on the IG Live. Comments froze mid-scroll. Fans who thought this situation couldn't possibly get worse realized they had underestimated the Braxton universe once again. Mendeecees Harris. Yandi's husband. That Mendeecees. And Funky said, yes. That one. The married one. The reality TV veteran, who had no business being wrapped up in Tamer's chaos. Except, apparently, he was. But the real shocker wasn't that Mendeecees was there. It was how he treated Tamer that night, according to Funky. He didn't describe subtle flirting. He didn't describe innocent friendliness. He described Tamer sitting on Mendeecees' lap in the back of an Uber, making out with him, while Funky sat there stunned, uncomfortable, and trying to mind his business. The way Tamer had been acting online, you would have thought Funky dropped her off unconscious with a stranger. But no. According to Funky, Tamer wasn't abandoned. She chose who she wanted to go upstairs with. And it wasn't him. That revelation alone set social media on fire. Tamer's fans went from defensive to confused. Yandi's fans came storming in. Love hip hop fans started pulling clips, timelines, old interviews. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Why would Tamer lie about not knowing Mendeecees well? Why would she protect him, but throw Funky under the bus? What really happened in that house? But what came next was worse. Funky said there wasn't just Tamer and Mendeecees that night. There was a third man. Another friend of Mendeecees. Someone who, in Funky's words, was the one who went upstairs with them. The tone Funky used when he said them shook people. Not her. Them. And then came the implication, the darkest twist yet. If anybody know what happened to your damn teeth, it's Mendeecees and his friend. That one sentence echoed across every platform. What did he mean? Was he hinting at an accident, or something more violent? Was he saying Tamer's injuries were caused by something consensual gone wrong, or something else entirely? Was this the reason Tamer claimed she blacked out? Before people could even process it, Funky dropped another bombshell. He said Tamer and Mendeecees acted like strangers when the cameras were rolling, but as soon as the cameras were off. Hand on thigh. Whispering. Touching. Meeting up secretly. Laughing close. Too close. And Funky, who has known Tamer for years, who has seen every one of her patterns, said something chilling. I was never comfortable with the relationship you and Mendeecees had. The internet exploded again, because one word kept surfacing, pattern. Tamer defending married men. Tamer slipping into situationships she shouldn't be in. Tamer blaming others when things fall apart. Tamer using tragedy to distract from scandal. But if the pattern was familiar, the consequences were brand new. Because this time, Tamer accidentally dragged two other families, Yandi's and the third man's, into her storm. And Funky wasn't about to let her play victim at his expense. He said, "You sat there and let the internet tear me apart, when you know who was with you." And then came one of the rawest revelations of all. Funky didn't follow Tamer upstairs, because he thought she wanted privacy with her man. Her man. Not the man the internet thinks. The man she spent half the night pressed against. Fans started replaying Tamer's radio interview. Looking for clues. Scrutinizing her body language. Trying to figure out how much she knew, how much she remembered, and how much she was pretending not to know. And then, someone leaked a text thread. Allegedly between Tamer and a friend. Allegedly from the morning after. Allegedly written while she was still shaken. In the messages, Tamer said, "I messed up. I got too lit. I don't know what happened after he walked me inside. Please don't tell nobody what you saw." That last line hit people hard. It sounded like Tamer was covering something up, not because she was scared of Funky, but because she was scared of the truth getting out. And then a second text leaked, one where Tamer allegedly wrote, "If this gets out, I'm finished." Finished. That word alone sent chills. But what made part one end on a cliffhanger was one final insider leak. One sentence whispered like a warning. Mendeecees didn't treat Tamer like a friend that night. He treated her like something else. And that something else was the secret Tamer didn't want anyone to hear. Not her sisters. Not her mother. Not the public. But now. The whole world is listening. Part 2 didn't begin with Tamer speaking. It began with silence. The kind of silence that follows a scream. The kind of silence that comes after someone has been publicly exposed in a way they can no longer control. Because shortly after Funky's accusations went viral, Tamer disappeared from social media. Deleted stories. Archived posts. Turned off comments. A digital blackout that only fueled the chaos. Fans took it as guilt. Haters took it as confirmation. And the rest of us? We knew the Braxton world was bracing for another emotional earthquake. And giggles shared away from the group. The kind of intimacy that's invisible to everyone, except the person who's seen Tamer repeat this same pattern with other men before. And then came the claim that made everyone gasp. When the cameras were rolling, they acted like strangers. When the cameras stopped, they acted like lovers. That one sentence rewrote everything fans thought they knew about that night. But then Funky did something unexpected. Something that threw gasoline on an already raging fire. He said he believed Tamer didn't want him around that night. Not because she didn't trust him, but because she didn't want him witnessing what she was doing. You didn't want me there, Funky said. Not because you were scared. Because you were having a good time with that man. And the comment section exploded with, Tamer being messy. She always drags the wrong people. This is why she stays in drama. She uses people to cover her tracks. But the real emotional hit came when an alleged voice note leaked, one that sounded like Mendeecees himself. In the clip, a man with a similar voice says, "Yo, Tamer was wild that night. She was all over me. I told her chill, but she wasn't trying to hear it." People argued over whether the audio was real or fake, but the damage was done. Perception became reality. And the reality was that the internet now believed something happened between Tamer and Mendeecees, something she didn't want the world to know. Then, just as everyone began debating the timeline, Tawanda Braxton accidentally liked a shady tweet that read, "Tamer always plays victim after messing with somebody else's husband." Tawanda unliked it quickly, but screenshots don't disappear. Blogs posted it within seconds. Fans speculated wildly. Sister drama surged again. Meanwhile, an insider from Tamer's camp leaked a heartbreaking detail. Tamer cried for hours. She said she feels betrayed. She said she didn't think Funky would expose her like this. But the insider also said something that made people pause. She didn't deny being with Mendeecees. She denied being responsible for her own injuries. And suddenly, fans had more questions. Was Tamer covering for someone? Was Tamer protecting someone? Was Tamer hiding something darker than an affair? That's when the third man's name began circulating. Someone no one recognized. Someone who wasn't a celebrity, a reality star, or a public figure. A friend of Mendeecees. A man who, according to Funky, was in the apartment when Tamer's injuries happened. Bloggers started calling him the ghost. Twitter said he was the missing puzzle piece. TikTok called him the man in the shadows. And then someone claiming to know him posted, "He came home shook that night. He didn't say what happened. Just that something went left real fast." The internet lost its mind. Meanwhile, a new layer of drama unfolded from an unexpected source, a former Love Hip Hop castmate. She posted, "Tamer is not as innocent as she pretends. Mendeecees is wrong, but Tamer knew exactly what she was doing." Screenshots were posted. Arguments erupted. Celebrities chimed in. But the darkest leak of the night, the one that turned speculation into genuine fear, came from an alleged security guard at Tamer's building. He claimed Tamer stumbled in with two men behind her. That she looked intoxicated. That she was laughing one moment and crying the next. That she lost her footing and hit the wall. And then he said, one of the men went upstairs with her. The other left. That's all I know. People gasped. Because suddenly the story shifted from scandal to something that looked more like danger. What happened in that apartment? Did Tamer fall? Was she pushed? Was there a struggle? Why did she only blame Funky publicly? Fans began piecing together every leak, every clue, every whisper like detectives reconstructing a crime scene. And then a chilling rumor spread. One claiming Tamer confided in a family friend, "I don't know what happened, but I know who was there." That line shook the internet to its core. It implied Tamer wasn't lying about her memory, but she was hiding the truth about the people involved. And as Funky continued teasing more revelations, and Yandi prepared to defend her marriage, and the ghost remained silent, the world braced itself. Because the next secret was coming. And insiders warned it would not only reveal what happened to Tamer, but what Mendeecees allegedly did that night. And the way he treated her. By the time part 3 begins, the Tamer Funky Mendeecees triangle has turned into something much larger, much darker, much more dangerous than anyone expected. No longer just a messy celebrity spat. No longer about petty shade or blog drama. No longer even about Tamer's injuries. Now, the question on everyone's lips is the one Tamer refuses to answer directly. What did Mendeecees do to Tamer? And why has she been protecting him? And that question exploded after one final leak. One that didn't come from Funky, Yandi, or any of Tamer's sisters. It came from someone shockingly close to Tamer's inner circle. A hairstylist, one who had traveled with Tamer for years, posted an anonymous confession through a gossip page. It read, "Tamer wasn't scared of Funky. She was scared of the man she was with that night." The internet froze. Because suddenly, everything started making sense. Why Tamer forgot the details. Why she wouldn't clear Funky's name. Why she kept changing her story. Why she refused to name the friend she said took her home. Why she kept urging respect for families involved, instead of just telling the truth. But the hairstylist wasn't done. They added, she said he got angry with her. She said he switched on her. She said it happened fast. That word, switched, ignited a firestorm. Because if you've followed Mendeecees' history, his relationships, his on-camera conflicts, you know that word is not coming out of nowhere. Meanwhile, Funky went live again. This time, calmer. Steadier. Almost sad. "I didn't want to do this to you, Tamer. But you made me. You let the world call me everything but a child of God, and you knew the whole time. The man you were kissing that night was the man you should have been talking about." Then he said something that made everyone's stomach drop. "You protected a man who didn't protect you." People typed, "What?" New "Oh my God," so fast the live nearly crashed. Because that hinted at something Tamer was terrified to face. Then a new leak surfaced, this time a private call between Tamer and a sister, allegedly to Wanda. Tamer's voice was trembling, high, broken. He wasn't supposed to be mad. He wasn't supposed to put his hands, cut. Silence. Call ended. The internet exploded. Fans screamed into comment sections. Blogs scrambled for confirmation. Tamer's supporters cried for her. Tamer's critics softened. Even the people who usually rolled their eyes at her drama fell silent. Because that clip didn't sound like a lie. It didn't sound like exaggeration. It sounded like a woman speaking her truth in a moment she never intended to be recorded. But the question was she talking about Mendeecees? Then, just when things reached a boiling point, another voice joined the storm, Yandi. She went live. Not yelling. Not crying. Calm. Dead calm. "I know my husband," she said. "And I know Tamer. One of them is lying. And it's not him." That only made things worse. Because the internet loves Yandi, but they also know that wives don't always know everything. Right after Yandi's live ended, a screenshot leaked, allegedly from a group text of the Love Hip Hop girls. One person wrote, "Tamer ain't lying. He got a temper." Another replied, "Girl, he ain't changed as much as he wants people to think." The shade was ice cold. But the most chilling leak of all didn't come from the industry. It came from a neighbor. A neighbor in Tamer's building who claimed to hear the commotion that night. They said they heard a man pacing, a woman crying, a loud crash, a door slam, silence, then more crying, then someone running down the hallway. No names, no confirmation, but it matched the timeline too closely. Meanwhile, Tamer resurfaced online at last, her eyes swollen, her voice soft, her tone fragile. She didn't address Funky directly. She didn't mention Mendeecees. She didn't explain anything about that night. Instead, she posted, "I was hurting. I was scared. And I trusted the wrong person." Millions watched that clip, dissecting every blink, every tremble, every pause. Some believed her. Some didn't. But everyone felt her pain. Minutes later, Funky posted, "Tell the whole truth, Tamer. Not the pretty version." Then came the final leak of part 3, the one that turned this from a messy scandal into a full-blown emotional disaster. A message allegedly from Tamer to a very close friend. "I didn't mean for it to go that far. I just didn't want him to get in trouble. You know how he gets. I just wanted it to go away." Those last 8 words broke the internet. I just wanted it to go away. Because suddenly, Tamer wasn't the villain. She wasn't the liar. She wasn't the chaos agent. She was the woman who got trapped between protecting herself and protecting a man she never should have been involved with. A man who, according to Funky, didn't treat her like a friend. A man who, according to insiders, switched. A man whose presence Tamer seemed scared to name. A man whose involvement she tried desperately to erase. The cliffhanger hits like a punch to the chest. If Tamer wasn't lying. If she wasn't exaggerating. If she wasn't deflecting. Then what did Mendeecees really do? And why is everyone so afraid to say it out loud? Before you leave this video, pause. Just breathe for a moment. Because after everything we uncovered tonight, the leaked audios, the whispered confessions, the hidden connections, the fear Tamer couldn't fully speak out loud, you can feel it, can't you? Something is terribly wrong beneath the surface. Something Tamer tried to bury. Something Funky only revealed a fraction of. Something that Mendeecees still refuses to address directly. And the hardest part. You can hear the pain in Tamer's voice. You can hear the exhaustion in Funky's tone. You can hear the denial wrapped in Yandi's calm. Everyone is defending their version of the truth, but the truth itself, it's still hiding in the dark. And that's why you cannot miss what comes next. Because insiders are already whispering that more footage exists. More screenshots. More witnesses. More pieces of that night that Tamer has spent months trying to outrun. And if even half of what we're hearing is true, the next episode won't just break the internet, it'll shatter the entire foundation of 2 reality TV empires. So before you go, make sure you like this video. Let YouTube know that this story matters. Make sure you comment your thoughts. Who do you believe? What do you think really happened? Your voice keeps this conversation alive. And most importantly, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next episode is coming soon, and what's about to be revealed will change everything we thought we knew about Tamer, Funky, and Mendeecees. Stay close. Stay ready. The truth is getting louder.